Take your dealership to the next level with the strongest team in automotive media. Over 8 million total video views and over 4 billion total impressions. CBT News, dealers' most trusted source for news, content, and analysis. Welcome to CBT News with Cheyenne Malone.
Hey everyone, I'm Cheyenne Malone. It is Thursday. Welcome back to CBT News. Here are your top stories.
The state of Virginia is abandoning its plan to phase out new gasoline-powered vehicle sales by 2035. Governor Glenn Youngkin announced that starting in 2025, the state will no longer follow California's stringent emission standards, opting instead for less strict federal regulations. This shift follows a legal opinion by Attorney General Jason Miyares indicating that Virginia is not obligated to adhere to California's 2022 updated standards, which mandate increasing sales of zero-emission vehicles. However, Youngkin argued that consumers should have the freedom to choose their vehicles, citing insufficient demand for EVs, with only 9% of 2023 vehicle sales in Virginia being electric. This move has sparked criticism from environmental groups and state Democrats who argue it is, quote, undemocratic and potentially illegal. Meanwhile, industry groups have successfully lobbied for more time to meet federal emission standards, which still aim for over half of new vehicle sales to be electric by the early 2030s. General Motors reported a sharp decline in EV sales last year after discontinuing the Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV. However, 6 months later, in May, GM recorded its best ever sales month for all electric vehicles. This resurgence, announced by CEO Mary Barra at the annual shareholder meeting, is largely attributed to strong demand for the Cadillac Lyriq, Chevrolet Blazer EV, Hummer EV, and the newly introduced Equinox EV. The Lyriq alone sold over 3,000 units in May, contributing to a total EV volume of more than 9,000 vehicles in the US and Canada. By July 2nd, the company aims to provide comprehensive quarterly sales data representing a major advancement in its EV strategy amid a competitive market. The only big SUV produced by the Detroit 3 automakers to get the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety's 2024 Top Safety Pick Award is Stellantis' Jeep Wagoneer. The Institute examined the Jeep Wagoneer, Chevrolet Tahoe, and Ford Expedition for the 2023 and 2024 model years. Despite missing the top safety pick plus due to rear safety seat concerns, the Wagoneer excelled in crash tests, pedestrian safety, and headlight performance. In contrast, both the Tahoe and Expedition failed the small overlap front test. While Stellantis praised the safety features of the Wagoneer, representatives from GM and Ford defended their vehicle's safety records and assured that they would address the Institute's feedback. Lithia Motors is aiming to save $150 million annually through targeted layoffs and employee cost reductions this quarter, as confirmed by Jardon Jaramillo, Senior Director of Finance. The cuts are primarily focused on U.S. positions rather than UK jobs, with a particular emphasis on underperforming general managers at the store level. These layoffs are part of a broader plan to cut $250 million in selling, general, and administrative expenses, which also include reducing inventory costs and spending on third-party services. The initiative, launched in early May, is expected to significantly impact Lithia's results by the third quarter. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Jim Ganther, CEO and co-founder of Mosaic Compliance Services, and Scott Hudson, Senior Vice President at Aura, to discuss how dealers can safeguard their dealership against fraud and identity theft.
Take your dealership to the next level with the strongest team in automotive media, featuring co-founder and host Jim Fitzpatrick, anchor and host Cheyenne Malone, automotive investor Steve Greenfield, BDC trainer David Kane, sales trainer Jonathan Dawson, marketing expert Colin Carasquillo, BDC and sales trainer Jen Suzuki, and coming soon, M&A expert Dave Canton. The strongest team in automotive media, CBT News, dealers' most trusted source for news, content, and analysis. Now streaming on Roku and Apple TV.
Talk to us first and foremost about this very issue of identity theft. Sure. and things that are going on out there. We hear about it all the time. Every single dealership out there is afraid they're going to get hit with some sort of a problem, and it could be a lawsuit. We'll talk about Absolutely. That in a minute. But talk to us about that.
Well, think about it. I mean, it's happening at all. It's happening not only in automotive. It's happening everywhere. But specifically in automotive, somebody goes and tries to do a test drive.
Yeah.
Well, they use a fake ID.
That's right.
They get the car's gone.
Yep.
They've lost it.
Happens all the time.
They get into the F&I office. They use a fake ID. They use fake documentation. They get the loan process. They leave with the loan.
Right.
Somewhere down the line, a consumer was impacted.
That's right.
And ultimately, the dealer is, because that's going to unwind.
That's right.
So that creates significant, but it goes even further. Now, car theft. People are stealing cars out of your driveway, out of a parking lot. Think about the information that's in the car. My son just bought a car.
Yeah.
Dealer handed him his packet of paperwork.
Yeah.
Credit app.
Oh, yeah.
Copy of his insurance paperwork.
Yep.
All of his applications.
That's right.
Think about what else is in that glove compartment. Think if I get a hold of somebody's key fob. If I get your key fob right now, I can go out and find your car.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I can start the car.
Yeah.
I can hit the home button. It'll tell me how to get home. I can
That's
hit
right.
your
Didn't think
contacts.
about that.
If your garage door is connected, the car is now becoming a vehicle.
That's right. It's kind of like
to
your cell
connect.
phone. It's almost like it's the next best thing to your
It's a
cell
device.
phone, right? Yeah.
It's a device on wheels.
That's right.
And so we need to begin to think about not only traditional theft, but the emerging theft of how people can not only use the car to commit much broader fraud.
Yeah.
And my boss bought a sports car in Charlotte, used car. He gets in, turns it on. The guy said, well, it belonged to someone famous.
Right.
He hits it, and the car belonged to Jeff Gordon. The reason he knew it was Jeff Gordon's because Jeff Gordon's contacts and information and wife and phone numbers. And
wow.
That's how scary it is. That car is a device with wheels.
That's right.
What are we doing to protect ourselves? So this is the problem that we're all faced with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's not a dealer out there, I don't think, that's been affected by this in some way. Some larger than others,
Absolutely.
right? But I don't know of a dealer where something like this hasn't happened.
No, absolutely.
Right? We're all touched by it in the business.
Then the reputational risk, because it's going to get in the newspaper or it's going to be on local TV.
That's right.
That someone was impacted by a dealer not properly doing something.
Yeah.
And someone getting a car in their name. And now that person's financially ruined. And I've seen example after example. So taking care and better protecting consumers is good for business.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only from all the risk.
Can I jump in on that
please.
reputational risk?
Absolutely.
Because we had a large dealer group that was hacked. They did a brilliant job of following the safeguards rule. They detected the breach within 5 minutes. They shut it down within 30. No data was lost. They still got sued in a class action lawsuit.
No kidding. Wow.
And all of the coverage in the news was this group that everybody had heard of had been hacked and had been compromised. Nobody went past the headlines to the fact that they did everything right.
Yeah.
No one was harmed.
Sure.
And it was because they followed the rules.
Right.
So even if you do everything right and you are the victim, you still suffer the reputational damage.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that does it for us today. But remember, it is easy to stay up to date with the most recent news and trends influencing the retail automotive industry. All you have to do is follow us. We're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm Cheyenne Malone. Thanks so much for watching.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content.